Okay, guys, and this is Laurent for Audiofanzine, and we're here with the Lords of the Firebirds, Mr. Scott
I
Holiday.
usually say the Lord of the Fuzz, but I like that I'm now the Lord of the Firebird as well.
Yeah,
So many
yeah.
Lordsings.
So, how are you
Hello,
doing?
everyone.
What's up? How are you doing?
Doing good. As you know, we were talking earlier, just wrapping up the Black Sabbath tour, 13 months of our lives out on the road there, and beginning essentially what's supporting Hollow Bones, our newest record. We're calling this tour the Teatro Fiasco.
Yeah.
So this is the second night officially, and I can't think of a better place to start out than in France here. So very happy to be here in Paris.
Cool. He doesn't brag, but yeah, he played the final show of Black Sabbath, so that's pretty cool.
It's pretty great, and it really felt like something too. So it's a much more humble stance than bragging. It's no, it's very Wayne's World, not worthy. But we all stayed and stood side stage and watched the final moment, and it felt completely surreal. It was real trippy,
Yeah, it's great.
beautiful, wonderful.
So as I said, during the introduction, you had many Firebirds type of guitar, So obviously it's not like the most obvious choice, When people grab some Gibson, it would be maybe like Les Paul first, like SG, even Flying V and Explorer are maybe like biggest seller stuff, But so what did attracted you on the Firebird, initially? Do you play them like since the beginning, or was it like down the road,
No, it wasn't until this band was really even happening that I even ever touched one. And the idea, I had been playing, Strats, Tellys, Esquires, Les Pauls, SGs, double necks, just all sorts of guitars, right? And none of them sounded like all these guitars. Like I couldn't get the sound I was having with all these guitars on our records with any of those guitars. I felt like I needed something different, and I think the big appeal for me also was not that many people really played it, and it's this beautiful, eccentric, big, loud design. It was co-designed famously by Ray Dietrich, who was like a car designer. So it's got the old Finn look. You know what I mean? The whole feel of the car is very kind of like mid-century modern. This like really interesting piece, and I love that about it, that it was loud and interesting and different, and no one used it, and all these things. And it just so happens that in researching what this pickup is originally in a Firebird, seemed interesting to me, and I got my first one, which is the blue one. It's a '99 custom historic, and it worked to sound kind of like a Telly and kind of like a Strat and kind of like a Les Paul and kind of like an SG. This guitar kind of seemed like a little bit in the middle, that it blurred the lines a lot. And then furthermore, I ended up replacing pickups and stuff and kind of hot
That one got
rodding
like
it.
3 pickups, right?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it
a
one with
7.
humbuckers or mini humbuckers?
There are many humbuckers in there. Yeah, originally the Firebird pickup is its own thing. It's a sandwiched pickup, not a humbucker, and more like a single coil. But it's very particular, a Firebird pickup. And I've used those too. But what's in there now are a set of custom wound Tom Short. Like it's a mini humbucker under a Firebird cover. So this thing basically sounds, and it's overwound, so it sounds like a vintage PAF in there. And then you're seeing the other guitars that are not really Firebirds. They're Cower Banshees, which are the shape of the Firebird, but made by Cower. And what I ended up doing with him is my current most favorite pickup of all time, and that is the TV Jones Powertron. And this pickup actually is like an old Gretsch pickup, right? And it's like an old Filtertron, so it'll give you the breathiness and airiness of a Filtertron, but the Powertron's wound a little hotter, so you get the muscle and the attack and the bite and girth of something like a vintage PAF. So this is currently what I'm really using the most. If you go through all the guitars, there's a few different things happening.
Okay, and you install like this pickup like on all of your Firebird stuff, or?
Most of the guitars I'm using, the gold one, the first Cower that I got, that I call Goldie with the pinstripes, has some Novak pickups in it, some custom wound. They're also like kind of like a mini humbucker, and they were wound by Curtis Novak, and they're beautiful. It's really, really vintagey. You can really hear the guitar talk with those pickups. And then I have a couple with Tom Short's pickups in. Then I have an old Jazz Master 62 Jazz, and that's got some Lawler P90s in it that I put in. But the rest of them, I think, are all TV Jones Powertrons.
Okay, cool. And so you got 9 guitars up on stage, like for tonight, So
Seems excessive, I know.
No, it depends. You use many different tuning and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, do you go and grab like this kind of guitar for this kind of songs or this kind of sound you're looking to,
Yeah, I mean, there's different tunings. I have a couple guitars half step down, a couple guitars standard. Then I ended up picking another one up in standard just for a couple songs, and then I've got a couple in open G. I've got one in an open D tuning, and you kind of want to make sure you have a backup for all those, because I do a couple songs in any of the tunings. So yeah, and I'm a crazy fan of guitars, different guitars, and the look of it. And besides the necessity of it is really why I'm doing it. But besides that, I've been a huge fan of just guitar porn. Like going to see Mike Campbell with Tom Petty, and both those guys, they're constantly switching guitars all night, and every guitar is just like mouth open, like, yeah, that's cool. Like these old Esquires, and then they both switch, and one's got the 50s Les Paul, and Tom's gonna play the Rick, and it's just all night. It's going back and forth. These guys, it's like 30 guitars between the two of them through the concert, and I remember feeling so excited and thought that visual was really fun. So besides the great songs and the whole stage show, there was a whole show happening instrumentally that like turned me on. And I remember saying when I was much younger, if I ever get a chance to do it like this, I'm going to do it like that, how they did it, because that's cool,
Yeah.
Me and my friends, we love guitars, we love the variety, and now I hear this from fans. They'll go, man, you pulled so many cool guitars out, and it was just all night, one after another. You can't keep up. The next one's better than the last. You know what I mean? And I thought it would be fun to do that. So that's part of it too.
Okay. They're all like Firebird shape, but they look like different. Like when I saw them, like some seems to have like a thicker neck, like the green one seems to have like a thick neck, for example.
A little bit. I mean,
and
they're all
are
pretty
thinner,
close.
Like but they're pretty close. You said profile.
Yeah, they're pretty close to profile. I think there's one that Doug Coward does for me. That's pretty. It's a pretty comfortable. I think he's doing a C, like a C shape, like really comfortable. I'd have to ask him. I don't even know. He did it so perfectly. I didn't even have to like inquire or bother with it. And famously, Fender necks really changed a lot. You had the big V in the 50s, and then the wider C, and then the U, and it's like changed, And I knew it when I was doing that and thinking about Fenders with these Banshees, these Cowers. He just did it right. And when I touched it, I was thinking, I don't know what this is exactly, but I love it. So if he changes it a little bit, that's great. I like that too. I mean, I think the baritone, I have one new one that's it's like a bass 6, so it's not quite baritone, but it's A to A, so it's deeper,
Yeah.
it's lower.
Yeah.
And I think that one's a little bit bigger, a little wider neck. It's a bigger thing. You know what I mean? It's like a bass. Other than that, yeah, the other thing too is the scales are different. If you're using like a Fender and then a Gibson, and then all the shapes kind of feel different. I have this Melodewin, this take on Gretsch's Billy Bow Jupiter, and everything feels different. All these different types of guitars, it's different scales, different necks. It's fun, lovely variety.
And so you're mixing like different brands. You get Gibson, you get like so you get Cowell is like luthier around you where you live, like in California. Or?
Yeah. I mean, he's an independent luthier, so it's he's from Northern California, and I think he could probably be a lot bigger, but he keeps things very personal. And if you want to get a guitar, you get one directly from him. So he's doing fantastic work, though.
Okay, and he built them like to the specs of the original Gibsons, or is he more like innovative, like original?
It's more innovative. He's actually changed the shape now on the Banshee, and he builds other models as well. And he's using different wood, and he's being very smart about it with how he's doing it. I think he's building guitars head and shoulders above Gibson. There's many notes they can take from him.
Okay. So it's not necessarily like the usual like mahogany one kind of thing, like neck through. It's not necessarily that like your Firebirds, like.
Well, yeah, they're one piece and everything, yeah. But he's strengthening the tenon, and I mean, people can look this all up. This is going to become an infomercial for his guitars. Go buy them; they're fantastic. But I mean, he's using different wood. Like I know Gibson never used Spanish cedar, and he's using that, and wenge for the fretboard, and really a lot of the aesthetic options that he's doing are really different than Gibson. And I'm pretty sure Gibson has seen it. And it's probably starting to rip some of his aesthetic ideas off.
Okay. And so yeah, you're using like a lot of different tuning, like you say, like to E standard to down to A, like you say, like which is pretty low. And so about string gauge, how do you do? You know, like you use like a lot of different strings gauge, or
Excuse me. Road life. It's like 6 o'clock at night. I'm just waking up, man. No, I use generally 1 gauge of strings, which is, and I kind of vacillate depending on where I am on the tour, but like 11 to 50 or 11:52 respectively, right? So that's for most of the guitars, that's what I'm using. The baritone, I don't know offhand because I only have one, and they're very special string gauge that I have custom made. They're gigantic. I don't know what they are though. And then
because 1150 would be like pretty sloppy on the
it's not going to work.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to work. And I like them tight. It's got to be taut, you know. And this is also a bass 6 with a Bigsby, so it's got to be very tight because I'm using that too. I can't have things like flopping around or whatever. Even for me, if I use 9s now, I get tangled up in the string. It feels like spaghetti, you know. So it's got to be taut. But everything is pretty much that 1 gauge besides the baritone, and then on the DAD guitar that I have, this open D thing, I use unison D strings in the middle. Other than that, they're all strung normally.
Okay, cool. So yeah, as you said, you're also like the lord of the fuzz. So and you got like many pedals like laying around. You got 3 pedal boards, I think. So
again, it seems excessive.
But no, but it's small pedal boards. It's
but
like you could have one gigantic one maybe. But
it's necessary, you know. The only reason all these little gadgets and robots are out there are because we're working from 6 records. And we're playing these headline shows, and we have a new record, and we're trying to constantly pull new songs, you know, day to day to day.
Yeah.
Anytime we do that, I want to have the correct setup here. And on our records, I'm not just, you know, God bless them. I love AC/DC, but that's not what I'm doing by any means on our records. It's not this guitar into that amp all night, every day, all the songs, every record. It's a huge amalgamation of color and things happening on all these records. And for me, just, you know, being a Capricorn type of perfectionist type of guy, I want to make sure that if I'm going to recreate that sound live, it's there. It wasn't this fuzz. This fuzz, I can maybe get by on it, but it does sound different. This one, it's not this germanium kind of warm round thing. It's this really abrasive, edgy fuzz, and that it has to be this one. Put that one on there too now. Or for delays and different timings, I'll have a few things going on. Or for different reverbs, or for a song that has a rotary sound, I need to have that up in here. Songs that I use a Univibe, songs that I'm using a ring mod, or whatever, anything, you know. And there's a lot of little doodads, a lot of different sounds and textures and color being painted on all the records. So to this point, 6 records, it's 3 pedal boards, it's 9 guitars.
Okay.
But tonight I can say, let's pull this one that we haven't played since we made the record, and I know I have it here, you know. And after we get through this record, I'll be able to remove 4 or 5 different things or something, because I know we're not going to play that too much anymore. This is all I need. But right now, I needed this big setup, so at any moment we can play whatever we needed to play.
Okay, that's cool. You get like some weird pedal, like so I've seen one like called Zap, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, I named this one. I just because I rehoused the pedal.
Right, yeah.
I rehoused and painted the box and everything. It was in a big enclosure, and it wasn't really necessary. And I've released the secret. I told what it is. It's an old Roger Mayer Octavia inside there.
Okay.
But I'm just letting everybody know. If you don't know, fuzz boxes sound different Every one of them sounds a little different. The older ones especially, transistors will sound different. You know, they'll get leakier or less leaky, and they're affected by heat and cold. And componentry, it's just different. It's just all different, you know what I mean? And sometimes they'll switch one little resistor, one little piece that will change everything about it. And something about that one, it was just really, really aggressive, really, really attacky, and really loud. So this one has become my closest companion on the board.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite one. Yeah,
probably my favorite. I mean, every one of them on there has a place and is important for some reason. I really like the new Deep Trip stuff. I have a Hellbender and a Bog from him that are both fantastic. And probably for most people, one of those Deep Trips would do just about every fuzz tone they would need. But when you're covering, once again, 6 records, you end up changing the texture a lot. And I need to. Oh, is Kenny cutting in?
Yeah. So you were kidding about the flooding thing. There's like a full flood at the back.
I try to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need like 6 towels.
You want me to do that?
Yeah.
This is the part of the interview that I'll take over.
Yeah.
And
There's in the green room. There's a big, huge bag full of them.
Dave is sending our host right now into the green room to get towels because Dave's over here in the bathroom in a towel, and I warned him earlier. It's a beautiful bathroom. It's well tiled. It's a wonderful shower head. It gets really hot. Thick beads. Nice shower. There's no guard for the water, so it just completely becomes a pond.
What do you call the green room once again? Is it the other like?
You can go find some koi fish and some lily pads in there, and we're just going to turn that into a bedside
Under the desk, there's a huge
lake.
bag full of towels.
Right here, upstairs.
No, right here.
Just down the hall to your left.
Oh, yeah, right here. Yeah. So while he's going to do that, we're going to talk about something really interesting. Let's talk about dog breeds. I have recently become a fan of the Pomeranian. Lovely dog, a little bit nippy, a little bit yippy. You got to be careful. They're kind of like a cat. You can't, most dogs are like big and dumb and they'll just love you and they're the greatest ever. But the Pomeranian I've found is much like a house cat where it's selective of how you pet it. And if you're trying to be overly friendly with this kind of a dog, it might just bite you. And they're very skilled at training the master. So that wraps up our talk right now about dogs. We're going to move back to guitars.
And to go back actually to the guitar, yeah, I'm back. To go back to the guitar, like you got plenty of pedals, and we actually keep that, I think, on the video. But yeah, you said like a mini guitar, mini pedals to recreate like studio stuff, live and stuff. But in the studio, do you rather like stick with like a couple of guitars, or do you also play them all, when you're on studio?
In the studio?
Yeah.
I play a lot of guitars in the studio. Yeah, I take everything you see here is with me. And then as well, I'll have my producer who we've used for all of our records, Dave Cobb, has a deadly collection of some really special guitars, like a 54 Les Paul conversion, and this his early, I think it's like a 61 Esquire or something, and just a huge collection of great, cool, really nice old 50s Gretsch. So all his guitars are there too, and they're all out, and we hang them all up, and they're all readily available. And I'll just kind of grab something that's inspiring. You know what I mean? When we go into write or work, I'll go, I want the melody to end. I want Excalibur for all of this. And I'll switch constantly. They might not all see the record. They might not all get to be on every record. Yeah. But will be fun too if I'm doing any overdubbing. I'll be talking with Dave and he'll go, hey, grab that one we haven't touched yet. That thing sounds great. Grab that one we haven't used it yet. Bring it over. Let's hear it. So we'll try to keep it varied and colorful that way.
Okay. And yeah, it's pretty spontaneous, like the way you're doing, because usually you don't write before you go in the studio. You often write in the studio, I think. And
we finish in the studio. Yeah. We're doing most of the writing in the studio. I'll write on my own, but I won't complete anything.
Mm.
I'll leave it open-ended, mostly not completed. And then Jay will do the same thing. We leave it open-ended enough so when once we get in there, no one's too married to anything, and we can actually kind of glue it together all the way in the studio.
Okay. And back to the pedals, you get also like a crazy pedal, like which was like a kind of theremin, but you can play on
This
the
is
foot.
one of my favorite pedals on the board. One of my favorite pedals, period. It's the ZVEX Fuzz Probe. Really super inventive, super great. The Fuzz Factory on its own is arguably one of the greatest fuzz pedals ever. It's one of the most Swiss Army of fuzz pedals. Really great. I love everything Zachary does. I think ZVEX is one of the best guitar pedal companies of all time, easily. And this particular one that I got from him, I love it so much, and I use the shit out of it. I use it all the time, and it's got a copper plate, like a proximity plate that controls essentially like a pitch that would be in the fuzz. And on the Fuzz Factory, you can dial that pitch where you want it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always right there. And it kind of squeals inside, It's like basically like what he calls the stab knob. So you can kind of adjust that, and it's always on. This one actually is, so it varies with your foot, the stab knob, and you can do a lot of fun stuff. Mostly space noises, but I'm totally into that.
Okay. And do you have like any particular pedals beside the one we talked already, like you like in your pedal board? Like
I love them all. That's why they're there. I love all of them. They're all very particular, down to the wah pedal or the volume pedal. I have a great Univibe in the Mojo Vibe. It's fantastic. There's nothing that's not necessary or that I don't think sounds great. I love the new Caroline pedals that I have on the board. One's called the Meteor. It's like a really, really great reverb pedal that has a what do you call it? It's got an extra switch on it, like a hold switch, and it kind of does this like weird little freak out, which is on the new record a few times. And then I have right next to that on my board a delay pedal called the Kilobyte, which is kind of like analog sounding, although it is digital, but it's very, very analog sounding delay, and it's got kind of a runaway switch on it too. I love all those. There's really nothing not particular in importance and lovely on that board. I need to let more people just sit and play it. I think the only person I've really let sit and like mess around with everything was when we were on the Deep Purple tour. I'm an enormous fan of Steve Morris. Grew up with him with the Dixie Dregs, one of my all-time heroes, and we've made great friends on tour. And one night I think we were all hanging out afterwards, and everyone's having a drink and kind of telling stories and stuff. And I got brave enough to go tell Steve, I would love to hear what you sound
with my rig
on my rig, because you know what I mean. I'm favorable to my rig, and I love Steve's rig too, and it's all his signature stuff. But I'm very partial to my own rig, of course, as we all are. And I'm thinking, my shit's way more saw blade aggressive. Everything's aggressive in my setup. It's a really gnarly setup, and so I got brave enough to say this to him without offending him, and he reacted in the best way. Like, he goes, just say when. Like, I'd love to do it when. And I'm like, sound check tomorrow. And he's like, okay, see you there. So it was that easy. And he showed up at sound check. Sure enough, the next day after we were done, he was just standing right next to my rig like, I'm here, let's do it. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. So I don't remember. I think he played one of my guitars. I'm not sure if we got his guitar. I don't remember how it went exactly, but I have a picture, so I'll remember.
Was it good? Did it sound good? Steve Morse on your
man,
rig?
it was so cool, and he was so he's so humble. He's so humble and down to earth. You know, he's the least like guitar nerdy guitar guy ever. Like, he can play in like any style proficiently, and he's so like self-deprecating, and he wants to try to tell me how I'm all these things, and I'm going, please stop. You know, he's literally a guitar genius, you know, and he didn't understand everything that was going on. So he wanted me to like go, what is going on? What is this? What does this do? And I was kind of going through everything with him and showing him how it works while he was playing, and he was like getting a hint, like, I'll click on the Univibe, and he bust into some Hendrix stuff, clicking some really aggressive stuff, and he plays some real nasty riffs. And we did it. You'd think it would be great just to have it for 10 minutes. We ended up doing it for like 45 minutes or something, like an hour of hanging out. And I just sat there and watched him play after I taught him what my setup is doing, essentially, and how to get in and out of stuff. And it was amazing. So that's one of the only times I've got to sit and listen to someone play my own rig.
So did you try like all fuzz out version of like maybe I'm a Leo or Iowa Star or stuff like that, but with like all the fuzz?
No, he didn't play any of that stuff so much. He mostly did a bunch of other like old school. It was cool. It was great. It was really, really interesting.
Okay, cool. So that leads us to the amp situation, like to finish up this interview. So yeah, I've seen like you got like 4 heads set up with 2 4x12 cabinets.
Everything is on all the time, full blast, all the way up. I actually made sure that they made these amps to go to 12. I'll see you at the guitar store, Nigel.
Yeah, because you get like 2 normal like OR amps, and you get 2 custom one, well, white, which is kind of unusual. Yeah.
Besides the colors, there's actually here's what they really do. There's 2 that are on, and they're on, but they're not both being played obviously at the same time. I'm only using one cabinet. I use one head as a dirty head, one head as a clean head.
Okay.
I run these into a switch radial switcher that allows both heads to take the load and use one cabinet. Thank you. I've been having problems with it recently, so Dave Bestie is in the back telling me how great that switcher unit works. It's been working for shit, but we'll get to the bottom of it. Thank you, Radial. I actually, there's no other way for me to do it. So no matter how much I bitch, I'm using the one they make because nobody makes one of these things. But there's some grounding thing. We'll get to the bottom. Anyway, that's what it is. It's 2 custom 50s.
It's more an A/B thing more than the splitter. Yeah, because
it's split. It's 2 channels. Just with 2 complete heads. You know
but you don't run the 2 at the same time. I mean, it's not on. They're on, but they're not like the signal is not on at the same time.
Just imagine it like it's an AB.
Yeah, like an AB. You get like a clean channel and a dirty channel out of 2 heads.
Correct. Yeah, and then they go into the switcher, and I am allowed to use this with one cabinet because of this box. And then on deck also, I have a backup head that can be clean or dirty, set quickly if anything goes down. And that other box you see on the left on top, that looks like an amp head, is actually a converted. It's where the switcher is. It's where I have DIs for my clean and dirty amps and empowering and stuff like that. So technical piece of gear.
Okay. And inside your cabs, like which type of speaker do you like?
Are little gnomes. Little gnomes inside my cab. They're baking cookies.
Okay.
What's the
I thought like gnome was a brand.
This is a new.
It's actually the same word in French.
This is a new thing Orange is coming out with. It's the Keebler series, and it's a 412 gnome loaded cabinet. They make you delicious cookies.
Impedance, like the
I need my cookies on deck, man.
And what kind of impedance the gnome are?
Yeah. The impotence of the gnomes. Get to baking, gnomes. I will not have this impotence.
I mean, they do have to have a load, or you will blow your head off.
These are normal cabinets. They're just the normal.
Vintage 30.
I think they're vintage 30s in these ones. Yeah. Okay. Yes. The gnome thing sounded better to me, but
it
vintage
looks like
30,
more
blah, blah, blah.
special. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
I get no cookies from these ones. Less fun.
Okay, they're making noise, so that's already a good thing.
Yeah, they're loud. They're very loud.
Okay, so thank you, Scott. I think we got everything that we need.
Thank you, fellas.
So thank you, and have a nice show tonight and nice tour.
Cheers. Au revoir.